When misfortune arrives and life feels heavy, most people begin to struggle against it, as if bad luck is an enemy that must be defeated immediately. But the wise one does not fight the storm. He first understands it. Whenever you feel that everything is going wrong, pause. Do not rush into anger, fear, or complaint. In that very moment, your mind is like a lake disturbed by wind. If you act while the water is still shaking, every decision becomes distorted. So the first step is stillness. Sit quietly for a few breaths and observe what is happening inside you. Do not label it as good or bad. Just notice there is disappointment, there is fear, there is confusion. By observing without judgment, you begin to separate yourself from the emotion. And in that separation, freedom begins. Then, remember this truth. What you call bad luck is often a moment that breaks your old direction. It is not always destruction. Sometimes it is redirection. Life removes what is not stable so that something more stable can be built. But a clouded mind cannot see this. It only reacts. So the next step is acceptance. Not surrender to weakness, but surrender to reality. Say to yourself, this is what is happening right now. In that acceptance, resistance dissolves. And when resistance dissolves, energy returns. Now act, but act with clarity, not panic. Ask yourself, what is the smallest wise step I can take? Not the biggest, not the fastest, just the wisest next step. Even in darkness, one small lamp is enough to show the path immediately ahead. And finally, remember, your present moment is not your final destiny. Life is flowing like a river. One stone does not stop its journey. What you call bad luck is only a passing wave on a much larger ocean that if you respond with awareness instead of reaction, calm instead of chaos, then even misfortune becomes a teacher. And slowly, you will discover that luck was never outside you. It was the clarity within you all along. Pause and stay still in difficult moments. When bad luck appears, the first step is to stop reacting immediately and allow the mind to become calm before taking any action. When bad luck or sudden misfortune appears in life, the first and most important response is not action, but stillness. In that moment, the mind usually becomes restless, filled with fear, frustration, and urgency to fix everything immediately. But acting from this state often creates more confusion instead of solutions. So the wise approach is to pause completely, even if only for a few breaths. This pause is not weakness, it is awareness. It creates a small space between what is happening outside and what is rising inside you. In that space, you regain control over your inner world. Instead of being pushed by emotions, you begin to observe them. You notice how quickly the mind wants to react, blame, or panic, yet you choose not to follow it. This simple act of stopping interrupts the cycle of impulsive reaction. Just like muddy water becomes clear when left undisturbed, the mind also becomes clearer when it is not shaken by immediate response. In this clarity, you begin to see the situation more realistically, not through fear. And only from this calm state can the next right step naturally appear without force or confusion. Observe your emotions without judgment. Notice feelings like fear, anger, or confusion without labeling them as good or bad. This helps create mental distance from them. In moments of bad luck, the human mind often rushes to judge the situation as permanent failure. It creates stories of loss, fear, and helplessness, making the present moment heavier than it truly is. But when you look closely, you will see that what we call bad luck is often just an unexpected shift in circumstances, not the end of your journey. Life is constantly moving, and sometimes it removes certain paths so that you are guided toward directions you could not see before. However, this understanding only becomes visible when the mind is calm. If you are caught in emotional reaction, everything looks like destruction. That is why acceptance becomes the key. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It means acknowledging reality as it is without resistance. When resistance drops, mental energy is no longer wasted on denial or frustration. It becomes available for clear thinking. In that clarity, even small possibilities begin to appear. You start to recognize that every situation, no matter how difficult, contains at least one workable step forward. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" the mind slowly shifts to, "What can I do right now?" This shift changes suffering into understanding and confusion into direction, even in the darkest moments. Understand that setbacks may be redirection. What feels like bad luck can actually be life pushing you away from the wrong path toward a better direction. When misfortune arrives, the natural reaction is resistance. The mind tightens, the heart becomes restless, and thoughts begin to repeat what has been lost or what has gone wrong. In this state, suffering multiplies because the situation itself is only one part of the experience, while the reaction inside becomes another layer of pain. But there is a deeper way to respond. Instead of resisting what is happening, you allow it to be present without adding extra struggle to it. This does not mean you approve of the situation, but you stop fighting reality in your mind. When this inner fight slows down, a quiet strength begins to rise. You realize that not everything is under your control, yet your response always is. This realization brings dignity even in difficulty. In that calm awareness, the situation starts to appear less overwhelming and more understandable. You begin to see details that were hidden in panic, and with that clarity, decisions become simpler. Even if the problem remains, your relationship with it changes. It no longer defines you completely. It becomes something you are experiencing, not something you are. This shift in identity reduces suffering and opens space for patience. Patience that allows life to unfold without forcing immediate resolution. Accept reality before trying to change it. Accepting what is happening right now reduces resistance and brings clarity and inner strength. When life feels unfair and bad luck seems to repeat itself, the mind often enters a state of frustration and helplessness. It begins to believe that circumstances are fixed and that nothing meaningful can change. Yet this perception is shaped more by emotional intensity than by reality itself. In truth, every difficult moment carries both limitation and possibility at the same time. The challenge is that the mind, when disturbed, can only see limitation. That is why the first inner work is to soften the reaction. Instead of immediately trying to solve everything, you create space for understanding. In that space, you start to notice that not every part of the situation is blocked. There is always a small opening, even if it is not obvious at first. Life rarely offers a complete path in moments of difficulty. It offers one step at a time. When you slow down and focus only on the present step, the pressure of the entire situation reduces. Gradually, clarity replaces confusion. You also begin to understand that what feels like loss may be removing something unstable from your life. Although painful, this removal often prevents greater suffering in the future. With this perspective, patience becomes stronger than panic, and awareness becomes more useful than reaction. Take small, wise actions instead of panicking. Instead of reacting emotionally, choose the next small and practical step, and trust the process of gradual progress. In the deepest moments of bad luck, when nothing seems to go your way and every effort feels blocked, the mind can easily fall into despair. It begins to compare the present with the past, imagining that something has been permanently lost. But this is only the surface of perception, not the full truth of life. Change is always occurring, even when it is not visible. What feels like a closed door is often a pause before a different opening appears. The difficulty lies in patience, because the mind wants immediate relief and immediate answers. Yet life rarely works in such a straight line. Instead, it unfolds in layers, revealing meaning only after time has passed. In this space of uncertainty, the most powerful support you can give yourself is inner steadiness. Rather than feeding panic with constant thoughts, you allow silence to enter your response. In that silence, your awareness becomes sharper, and you begin to notice small signs that were previously ignored. These signs guide you toward the next step, even if the full path is still unclear. Slowly, you realize that bad luck is not a final judgment on your life, but a temporary experience within it. And when this understanding settles deeply, fear loses its control and resilience naturally grows within you.